What is up, you guys? It's your girl Ashley Janae, and I'm back with another video. Now, for those of you that may know me, I am a big yapper, so I have notes to kind of guide me during this conversation, or else I will definitely get sidetracked and yap and yap and yap. I'm trying to respect your time. I'm trying to respect my time, okay? Without further ado, let's jump straight into this topic. Now, this applies to people that are looking to attract a specific type of person, the people that don't really want to waste too much more time and that are looking to attract a specific person. I want to start by saying it is important to write out your standards, not to just think about them, and it's okay to make them up as you go along. Just make sure you go back and edit, add, remove whatever it is that you wrote. Not only does this give you something to refer back to, but it's kind of like a visible checklist that you can use after meeting people, whether this is a friend, whether this is a romantic person, a business partner, whoever, don't care, it all applies the same, okay? Now, I'm going to give you guys a personal example of how this just saves you and spares you from wasting time. So, a long while ago, right? When I was kind of opening myself up to, attracting people and romantic partners, one standard that I wrote, I'm a very hard worker and I have a lot going for myself, okay? And I'm pretty comfortable. And I feel like I wanted a person that, was on that caliber or higher, because if not, we don't need to get into that. That's a story for another day, but that'll definitely cause some issues, right? And I met a person that came off super kind, was just super dope. Amazing personality, especially over time, because I look for consistency. Wanted to take me out, wanted to do so many things. But one thing that I noticed that didn't check my standard box was that he just wasn't really that much of a hard worker. How could I tell? Because through the conversations, through all of the talking that we were doing, he never mentioned having any real structure or plan with working. It was one of those things where it's like, okay, every time I'm talking to you, you're going out, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're having fun. At no point during the day are you mentioning that you're working, you have work. You're not even mentioning when you plan to start working. So for me, it was like, okay, it's really good that you come off as this type of person. You check the boxes in other aspects of personality, but in terms of what you're doing with yourself, with your life, you do not check that box, right? And it could have been so easy for me to keep going, to be like, yeah, that's something we could change or work out throughout the line or kind of negotiate that. But no, right? Because later down the line, how are we going to build anything and you have no structure within that and you're not even working, right? So you just got too much time on your hands, okay? I didn't like that. But anyways, that's kind of a personal example of how writing out these standards could just immediately just cut people out, saves you time, saves the person time, end of the story, right? And I really feel like when you meet people, definitely use it as an exploratory phase. I understand that people, give people chances and stuff like that. But for me, this video is just more of, once you get the info that you need, that this person isn't checking a specific box that you need, there is no need to continue wasting your own time, okay? Because you're very precious and there's somebody out there that will check that box. I'm not saying that when you first meet somebody, overly analyze and yada, yada, yada. No, because it takes time to get to know a person. But the more time that you're getting to know them, and there are certain major flags, like I said, with the person that just wasn't working all the time and had nothing but time on their hands to go out and do things and just turn up all the time. You know what I'm saying? That's just not it. And that's just something you have to kind of dead right then and there. Like, they could be so cool. Another thing I want to say is, do not get distracted by the courting. Don't get distracted by something else, gifts, I don't know, other things that people might try to do, right? Because I could have easily just negotiated, or I could have easily, lowered my standard by saying, okay, but as far as just how he's showing up and overly doing this to kind of woo me, let's just kind of sweep that under the rug. No, because the same red flags you ignore in the beginning are the same red flags that cost you in the end and are the same reason that it comes crumbling down, okay? I've learned that too many times the hard way in order to not, relay that message, right? And like I said, it just does you a solid. You're not wasting your time. That person is not wasting their time. They could find what they need. And another thing too is sometimes, You know, you don't have to 100% discard somebody. Like, in my opinion, that person could have been more of a friend, but it's also up to discernment on whether or not that person is capable of actually being a friend. And there's so many controversies with being friends with someone that's attracted to you anyways, but do whatever applies to you, okay? Because, yeah. Anyways, I also think another thing too, nothing hurts more than something not working out or being played by a person that didn't even meet your standards anyway. So do yourself a solid and don't even entertain and get into things that's just going to waste your time and cause resentment if things were to crumble. You know, it's just kind of no point. I would at least rather wait, get the person that applies to the standards, and just go from there. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely think always put people in a category after you've collected all of the information that you needed within that exploratory phase, and just move on, okay? Because it's so easy for us to get lost, and it's something that's so popular in today's society, right? Where we just talk to people and we waste their time, and we're just using people because we don't know how to be alone and stuff. No, write out what it is that you want. When that person says something eventually, or the more you get to know them, or they do something that indicates that they're unable to check a major box that you need or want, do yourself a solid and move on. I promise you, you will be okay, and I promise you better is to come. Mwah.